Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about water. Who owns it? Apparently, Uncle Sam does. Here we are in the United States of Arrogance, and I have discovered there are only 2 states in this entire country where you can legally collect rainwater and use it for potable use. Now, potable use means for inside. Your dishes, laundry, showering, piss and shit in it, okay? I have discovered that there are only a handful of states in this country that will legally let you collect rainwater for outdoor use. So, you know, watering your lawn, washing your car, something like that. Now, in the state of Florida, where I live, there was a woman who was arrested for collecting rainwater. I had read it was even at gunpoint. This is a widow trying to make ends meet. They told her that her dwelling has to have water as well as electric, and she said she collected rainwater and had solar panels. So then they just tried saying her conditions weren't sanitary, and that wasn't true, but they're just looking for, you know, excuses. The truth is they want her to pay for the water, but where she did mess up, she was using their drain system, their sewage system. Wishbone. That's my puppy, sweetheart. It's alright, sweetie. So she was putting the water down the drain, and that is part of their grid system. And that's where she ran into some trouble. I had read about a man who went to prison for collecting rainwater somewhere in the Northwest. And it was my understanding he had made a pond and stocked it with trout. So here he was, you know, able to provide for himself not only water but food, and they weren't having that. They asked him to undo everything, fill it in. He didn't. And he went to prison. There were also some things about he made some natural dams on his own property, and they tried saying that was standing in the way of the water's runoff of making it back to its rightful owner, like the river or wherever. So things can get a little weird with all of this. And, you know, there are places in the world that collect rainwater and have been forever, and that's their water source. And there's places where it's encouraged because of droughts and limitations on water availability. I mean, water is essential for life. You must have it. So for the government to act like they own it, and they can evict you from your property if you do not have running water. And they insist on you paying for their chemical water at that. Now, they will tell you all of these things are for sanitation and your safety, but the bottom line is it's about money. It's about generating revenue, and it's a business. I don't want to pay for water out of principle, and I also do not want their chemical water. Now, some of you will balk at this, you'll roll your eyes. And let me tell you, you're drinking too much fucking fluoride, and you're dropping IQ points. And if you look at the studies, you will see people with fluoridated water have lower cognitive abilities and decreasing IQ points, okay? Now, some of you, you'll just parrot what you've read on a goddamn toothpaste tube that says, 5 out of 6 dentists recommend fluoride. Well, what does the 6th dentist say? Let's hear what he has to say. He's probably the one in Asheville that said, take it out of the water. It's harmful. There are scientists that say it doesn't prove to prevent tooth decay. Diet is the primary #1 thing of preventing tooth decay, even above hygiene and brushing. This is a fact because Dr. Weston A. Price, a world-renowned nutritionalist, dentist, and very sophisticated oral surgeon, made the connection Okay, in his 10-year world travels looking for perfect health, what he found were people with perfect teeth, no cavities, no dentist, no toothbrush, all on natural diets. He said that orthodontistry is a modern necessity due to the modern diet of processed, refined sugars. And that would be the foundation of the food pyramid in our country would be flour. And it's been processed and raped of all of its nutrients. It's metabolized as a simple sugar. It's no longer a complex carbohydrate with all of its goodies. And the whole point of eating is to be nourished. So anyway, if you think fluoride is going to save you from a shitty diet, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And you need to get off the fluoride because you're becoming more and more stupid. And the studies are showing this, especially in children of areas with high fluoridation in water. It's also been connected with the white dots you see on teeth. Yeah, so if you've wondered what those molten dots are, there you go. Right there. Now, it's also my understanding that fluoride is not on the periodic table. Okay? Now, you will also see contradicting information that says fluoride is a natural element found in our water supply today. But others say no, that's a result of industry runoff, a toxic waste contaminating water supplies to the point it looks like it's just a natural thing now. And fluoride is not the same thing as fluorine. Okay, but they're using the word fluoride exactly like it is fluorine, so it's getting confusing. But after I've objectively researched this, what I discovered was fluoride was a byproduct of the aluminum waste and nuclear waste industry. It gets a toxic rating of 4. That's the highest you can give something for toxicity. They give nuclear waste a 4. If fluoride goes into lakes or rivers, they call it a serious toxic pollutant. If the vapors are in the air, it's called a pollutant. But they're going to put it in your drinking supply and tell you it's good for you? Do you really need a scientist to tell you that's a bad idea? Again, you're on too much fluoride. You've become that stupid. Yes, you have. Now, rat exterminators. The #1 choice rat killer used is, guess what? Fluoride, because it's that effective. Now, you're probably one of these moronic people, and you're going to go, well, we don't know that humans would respond like that. Well, guess what? They use labs, rats in labs to conduct experiments to see how they respond, because they respond a lot like humans. That's why they use rats, you dumbass. That's why they use rats, because they do respond a lot like us. And yes, there is research that shows it's harmful. Also, let's not forget that, whoops, puppy, you moving the camera, that, let's see, sorry, I got distracted. Aluminum has been connected with Alzheimer's disease and just cognitive degeneration, okay? So is it a stretch for you to believe that fluoride could accomplish this as well, being it's a byproduct of aluminum? Okay? Hello? Hello? And then fluoride's also been associated with thyroid problems, which seems to be an epidemic in this country. And you know, in the sad diet, standard American diet, sure isn't helping. Okay? So, I want to go off the grid. I want to have my own water. I'm hell-bent on having my own water well or collecting rainwater. Now, some people freak out at the idea of well water. Oh, God, I'd rather have city water. Where do you think they're getting it? Here in South Florida, they're getting it from the aquifer, just like a person who would drill their own water well. But you don't have to treat it with harmful chemicals. There are natural ways of doing this. And one of the most effective ways to purify your water is actually charcoal. It even gets viruses. Okay? You do not have to poison your water thinking you're making it safe. This is ass backwards. It doesn't make sense. But again, most of you sheeple, have just bought into all of this. You don't research anything objectively, and you just buy it. Hook, line, and sinker. Okay? So today, apparently, Big Brother, Uncle Sam, and every other motherfucker that's in bed with them owns water, and they want to pay you for it after poisoning it. Now, let me tell you what you can do to take charge. I am currently on the grid. I am preparing to go off-grid. But meanwhile, to feel better about the water situation, and I do not want to buy water at the store, bottled water. The plastic is a whole other thing, okay? Now, I could make a video just on that, but let me tell you, the highest food-grade plastic is a petroleum product. Petroleum is a known carcinogen. We want to say we're the best country in the world, but yet this is the best we could come up with? Really? That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so I have a couple of distillers. I will show you what I have and tell you about them and how they work and how well things are going with that. Okay. Get a camera off the tripod, and down here is Wishbone the Adorabella. Okay, over to the first distiller. Let me make sure it's in the camera. You can see this one looks a lot like a coffee pot, and it does 3 liters. This is bigger than you think. It holds 3 liters, but you pour the water in the top, and it takes 3 hours for this to drip out. Okay, so it does take a while. It does use electric, but distilling water is the only one of the only things that will actually get fluoride out. Now, let's say you didn't have power. There's an outage. You know, I live in hurricane country. I've not had electric for a week and a half. That's when you want to switch over here to something like, let's see, just showing up. I have this copper distiller, okay? You can put this over an open flame, and this will distill and purify the most horrendous water and a perfectly pure, healthy water, free of the weirdness. Copper also has antimicrobial properties. You can also distill your own alcohol, which is a biofuel. You could run your car on it. I have an alcohol burning stove. You can also make essential oils with this. Okay, now let me take you over to my Berkey water filter I just got, and this is a system that uses filters. You do have to buy the filters. There's also a separate one for fluoride. I did get that. I'm not convinced it works perfectly, but regarding the other filtration using the charcoal, it will handle all kinds of nasties, including viruses, and you could take mud water and put it in here, and it comes out perfectly clear. So this is a great system that doesn't use electric, or you don't need fire. So when it comes to water purification, it is good to have different ways of doing it, because in an emergency or some sort of crisis, I mean, you may not have electric. You may not be able to buy a Berkey filter, okay? This is where I think the copper distiller is actually the best. The thing, I really like the Berkey filter, and since I've been getting that, or since I bought it and have been using it, I have not used the electric distiller one time. Pardon me. But I don't like the idea that the filters are encased in plastic, or the at least the fluoride one is a plastic one. The main filters are just a giant cone like black charcoal, you know. And let me show you. I bought some active charcoal here made of coconut, and you can buy this too and make your own filters, really. So you don't have to go out and spend a lot on the system here. And there are people with entire water cistern systems that use the charcoal and also copper to prevent algae growing in their water tanks. So this is what we have going here. And at least to get the water purification going on my end, I felt empowered and not so helpless to have to drink their poison water. I'm also tired of them coming out onto my property. Another reason I want to be off the utility grid. I don't want them needing a reason to come over here. I mean, they've turned my water off before a number of times because I couldn't afford my bill. Another thing, I had some honeybees that set up in the water meter, and they bought me a little time because when they came out to turn the water off, they saw the bees and left. But listen, when they came back, they did not remove the bees like they were supposed to. They killed them, and they poured gasoline in my water, the main thing out front. I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. I mean, Einstein said that if the bees die, we have 4 years at best to live. Albert Einstein said this, okay? The pollinators are very important. And they're having a problem dying off, and now we're going to get into the pesticides and genetically modified frankenfoods and all of that. And that's another video as well. But I'm very disappointed with what I see in this country today and the level of stupidity amongst the mass sheeple. You have a bunch of people who have been hand-fed information from their boob tube by this entity that has something to sell them. And when it comes to marketing, they don't give a fuck about you or your health. The bottom line is making money. Okay? Now some of you might think, oh, this is all conspiracy talk and blah, blah, blah. It's true. It's all true. Research it objectively, if you can possibly do that. A lot of you think you're objective, but when it comes down to it, you're not. And you're easily swayed. I have a background in marketing, graphic design, print advertising. Oh, sweetie, we're doing a video, not the squeaky flea right now. I know you love him. Here, play with your hippopotamus. This little lubba. Here, sweetie. Here you go. Have fun. Marketing. It's really easy to sway people. I know. It was my occupation for many, many years. But you know what? There was a time I felt like I got paid to play because I really loved the graphic design. But at the end of the day, it started feeling really slimy because I was doing a lot of work for Big Pharma. Their vitamins and all this, and oh yeah, health food, right? You know, protein shakes, all this lab-made powder mix shit. I'm sorry, but I really couldn't stay in that business. And I will tell you, it's very easy to sway people and get them to pick a product off of a shelf, and everything's marketable. You can sell about anything if packaged right, and you tell people what they want to hear. And there are blatant lies all over the place. I did lots of packaging for food and beverage, and I will tell you right now, the ingredient list on a lot of them is inaccurate. They're not even for that product, and I know how these mistakes happen. And some of them are outright lies. Outright lies. And they're not telling you the whole truth. And that's a fact. So yeah, it disgusts me. And it also disgusts me how easy people are to manipulate. It's really not hard. You really do tell them what they need to hear, and they'll buy your product without questioning it any further. You know? They're like, oh! So, I'm angry with people. That people and their passivity has allowed this to happen to where now the government owns water. What? There's also some places in my area where people had water wells, and they forced them to go on city water and pay them thousands of dollars within a short period. These people were required to do this and fill in their perfectly good water wells with sand, or they were going to go to jail. This is where everyone needs to rise up and say, fuck you, because guess what? They can't arrest all of us, can they? They would have to give in. And this is where, like, Europeans have higher standards. Why? Because the government fears the people. When the natives are restless, they take it to the street, and Uncle Sam listens. But here, we like to say, oh, land of the brave, but we're land of the cowards, okay? And we don't want to stick our necks out or call attention to ourselves, so we cow down, we bite our tongues, and we just bend over, and we take it. And the people here are afraid of the government, and the government knows that and abuses that. This is a huge difference in why we have the low standards we do. And a lot of you think we're the best in the world and we'd have the best and the highest standards. This is why I call us the United States of Arrogance. And you're lying to yourself. Because we have chosen our #1 food grade plastic. The highest grade plastic you can get in the culinary world is a petroleum product. And petroleum is a known carcinogen. But oh, you can say, oh, they've cleaned it up, it's refined. You're on too much fluoride, dumbass. Now, rumor has it fluoride was used in the Holocaust to, well, dumb people down. It placates them, or it makes them complacent, rather. The cognitive abilities, you become more stupid, and they've shown that it can actually make people sterile. So, rumor had it was also a form of population control. So maybe all these people that are having miscarriages left and right or can't get pregnant, maybe this is influencing things, okay? I mean, it is a toxic poison. It shouldn't be in our system at all. It's not even found in the periodic table, like I was telling you. Look it up. Fluoride and aluminum have been put in psych meds, and studies are showing people on psych meds are becoming more and more stupid. Yeah, that's a whole other thing in this country, you know. You can say we lead the world? Yeah, we lead the world in fucking madness, insanity, okay? Sociopaths. There's a great read out there called The Sociopath Next Door. Check it out. We produce more psychos than anyone in the world. And that's a whole other video. But I have some theories on that, and I'm not the only one sharing this. There's psychologists writing volumes of books about this. So they're showing, with the increased use of psych meds, an increase of insanity. Do the math. But then again, maybe you're not quite sharp enough to add it all up anymore. But guess what? 1 and 1 is still 2. So these are some of the reasons I want to be self-sustaining. I just want to be able to provide for myself in an affordable way. And I want healthy, clean water free of chemicals. Why is it you're a goddamn freak in today's world if you want that, and people act like I'm being unreasonable or something, and you're the stupid people. You're the people with the double-digit IQ. You don't get it, and you won't. And guess what? Charles Darwin was right. Natural selection. The stupid really do kill themselves off early. So, that's that. That's my video on water. Who owns water? Who owns water? And how did this country get to be that you can become a criminal and imprisoned for collecting rainwater on your own property just to meet your needs? And water is essential for life. They can evict you from your home if you do not pay them for the chemical water, and they will not allow you to collect rainwater and use it for potable use without arresting you. We should all be batshit crazy angry about this. And I'm bothered that a lot of you don't give a fuck. And you're like, what's the big deal? It's paying their money and the water's fine. Studies show it's safe. Well, guess what? There's other studies shown by independent scientists that it's not safe. And you need to question anyone who is telling you something's fine or good and okay when they're the ones who want to sell it to you. Or they're just a bunch of brainwashed people who all just parrot the same thing, but no one's objectively researched anything. They're not educated, they're stupid. Okay? Get informed and give a damn. We have a right to fresh, clean water without being poisoned. No one should own water. Now people say, well, the city, you know, we have these water supply systems and they need money to run and blah, blah, blah. We could have a socialized water system. People shouldn't have to pay for water. We have socialized schools, so some of you that want to say, we hate communism, we hate communist countries. Guess what? We already have socialized schools, the fire department, the police department. It's the taxpayers that absorb this cost. I know because it's on my tax bill every year itemized. Okay? So, why not include water in this? Where everyone gets water. But still, it wouldn't exactly be free, just like the schools. So the money's coming from somewhere, and it's coming from property owners. And even if you rent, I mean, you're contributing to this because your landlord has to pay taxes with the rent you give. So we're all paying for it, you know. But yet I get a water bill every month, and it doesn't matter how much I conserve. It doesn't even matter if I'm not here and don't even turn the water on. My bill will be the same. But they tell me, oh, we're reading the meters. Also, they charge you for outgoing water. There is a meter that reads wastewater. Now, people have argued this. Well, bullshit. It's on my fucking water bill. It actually tells you incoming gallons, outgoing gallons. And they charge you coming and going. And I don't know why it's so hard for you to believe they could put an outgoing meter. It's the same meter that reads water coming in. Okay? It's the same type of meter. I'm surrounded by stupid people. Everywhere I look, I see stupid people. And if it sounds like I have some sort of superiority complex, well, that's easy to happen when surrounded with this much ignorance. But hey, with ignorance there's hope. You can get educated, you can get informed. But if you're stupid, you're a lost cause. And you're fucking it up for the rest of us at keeping standards low. That's why I'm angry that people aren't angry. If they were like Europeans and rose up, band together and said, hell no, we demand higher standards and better quality for the sake of our health and sanity, then we would get better and higher standards. But I'm surrounded by a bunch of pussies, stupid pussies at that, who don't give a fuck. I give a fuck. Thank you for watching my video. And please contribute your own thoughts, your own experience. If you're collecting rainwater or you have a water well, tell us about your purification system, what you're doing. Because now rainwater, it's not what it used to be. We have so many pollutants in the air, your rainwater can be contaminated. Okay? So, I'm interested to learn from others and freely share what I myself have learned. And together we're going to get this ironed out. But there's strength in numbers, and one person, well, it's a mighty difficult task to do it alone, you know. It's beyond just an uphill battle. Okay, thank you, and goodbye.